Intro, here are my problems with communism. I've put gameplay over this so you've got something more interesting to watch than a black screen, since I don't like showing my face. I chose this avatar because I thought it made sense for the video. Intro, B, Overview of Communism. Let's start with a basic idea of how communism works. In theory, it's a system where all property and means of production are owned by the community as a whole. No private ownership, everything is shared equally. The goal is to create a classless society where wealth and power are distributed fairly. Sounds good, right? Well, not really. Here's why. Reason 1, lack of incentive and innovation. First, communism stifles innovation. If everything is owned by the community, as Karl Marx puts it in the Communist Manifesto, communism can be summed up in a single sentence: abolition of private property. Now, think about that for a second. Without private property, you essentially have no personal stake in what you create or produce. No personal ownership means no real incentive to push the boundaries or innovate. You probably have to jump through endless bureaucratic hoops just to get anything done, which, let's be honest, is hardly motivating. In a system like this, the drive to invent and improve is severely limited. Reason 2, investing in the flaws of communism versus capitalism. Next, let's talk about investing. In a capitalist system, if you make smart decisions with your money, you're rewarded, usually with more money. That's the basic principle of investing. But in communism, that opportunity just doesn't exist. There's no personal capital accumulation. In capitalism, if you work harder or more efficiently than someone else, you should get more, whether that's money, power, or something else. But in communism, everyone receives the same, no matter how much effort they put in. This creates an environment where there's no incentive to outperform anyone else, which ultimately discourages productivity and personal growth. Reason 3, historical failures. Now let's talk about the historical record. Communism has failed every time it's been tried. If you want to see a fictional representation of the cycle of failure, read George Orwell's Animal Farm. It's a brilliant allegory of how communism inevitably leads to inequality and authoritarianism. Real-life examples are even worse. Look at the Soviet Union, which collapsed under its own weight, or North Korea, which remains a totalitarian nightmare. Even countries like China and Cuba, which were staunchly communist, have started moving toward capitalism because they realized communism doesn't work. They've seen the failure of centralized economic control and have embraced some form of market economy to keep their nations afloat. Communism doesn't deliver on its promises, it never has, and it never will. Asterisk. Reason 4, corruption. And then there is the issue of corruption. Communism creates a system where power is concentrated in the hands of a few elites, and history has shown that when power is centralized, it breeds corruption. Whether it's the Soviet Union, where the leaders lived in luxury while the people starved, or modern-day China, where corruption is rampant at the top, communism creates a perfect environment for the abuse of power. With no checks and balances, the people in charge can do whatever they want, and the average person has no recourse. This kind of system just doesn't work in practice. Conclusion. So, in conclusion, let's recap my main points. Communism discourages innovation, it removes the incentive to work hard or invest, it has a terrible historical track record, and it breeds corruption. At the end of the day, it's a flawed system that doesn't deliver on its promises. While I'm sure some people still believe in its ideals, the reality is communism just doesn't work. Outro. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Agree, disagree, or just want to throw out your thoughts on the topic. See you next time.